As a teacher, I feel it's a very well planned out program as well. By the end of every day, we have a review and there's a reflection that we. Where Rudra is taking it constantly, he's improvising it. It's very nice. So in the end of the day, we kind of sit together as a group, all the teachers who have partnered in this activity, and then we kind of contribute. So this is leadership quality that comes up.
Okay, how was breakfast at the farm?
Kanji. Great.
Nice.
Great.
So it's starting.
I would have liked if you didn't have the husks of the rice grains in it.
I agree.
What did we do first? Tell me about the orientation. Can you tell me a little bit more about the tools? What are tools? What kinds of tools did we see?
Scale, measuring
Scale?
tape, oh yeah, the green color.
Spirit level.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
The triangle thingy, the yellow color one.
What's that called? Huh?
Speed square. She said set square.
Cool. Yeah, I guess in general it's a set square. What does the speed square help us do?
We didn't use that.
Oh, she used it.
Instead of a scale, yes.
Huh?
Plywood.
Okay, nice. Okay, the speed square helps us do what?
Measuring tape.
3 saws. I mean, with that,
Oh yeah, the bumper arm. It looks like
Plum
bumper
line
arm.
it's called.
look at how we are.
Plumb line. But we don't use a pizza cutter for wood. What do we use it for?
Metal.
Nice. What's that blade made from?
High speed will cut through it like butter.
What are the other tools that we saw apart from cutting?
Inches and clamps.
Inches.
Triangling.
There was some other basic things also.
Bigger ones.
Oh yeah.
There were slightly more bucket-sized ones.
Yeah.
What all did we look at for?
What is grounded cement?
What did you observe about the wall? Before you talk about the components, just looking at the wall, what did you see?
Layers.
You saw layers, and then what else? Just try to like picture the wall. What else did it have? Nice. So we had holes, we had layers. How tall were the walls we saw? Like how you're gonna write that in your book. And whatever, more than 2 feet tall. Okay, cool. And what was the wall sitting on?
The pent, split.
They didn't leave space.
Is that something you think you can do better?
Yeah, if you leave space, you can do it. Quite
Okay. Nice. What
You apply oil on the edge. Check the levels and I left.
Well, anyway, you check the levels, but that was. And then about the cutting itself, were you happy with how straight it was? Do you think you could have done better? What could you have done to make it better? So you think just you could have skilled up, you could have tried harder?
Yeah, I would have tried harder.
There's no other way in which you could think you could have made much better cuts? What was the first set of tools? What kinds of tools were there? Nice. So speed square does what? Nice. And then the spirit level did what?
like checks out bands, like
How level things are. Nice. Any other measuring tools that we have? Nice. Yeah. Wow, amazing. Yes. Okay. Cool. And it was level? Sure, that's fine. That's normal.
They asked me how they want to place the formwork onto the base and make sure it doesn't move.
Through that entire process, helped you guys make a better formwork? And did your formwork come out exactly like you had imagined?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
See, what other kinds of tools did you see?
These are the new ones, grammar. You got confused now. I just called you these are spam.
Yeah. What are they called?
Oh, that's the leveler.
He's saying leveler. Nice. Rammer. Yeah,
So
all of
what's
that.
These are the what's that thing you like a spatula kind of thing?
Yeah, it's called a trowel. So the bigger one is the shovel, the smaller one is the trowel. We carry it in the bonds. We use the rammer to ram it. Power tools.
Ours is not a boarding school, right? We meet them only for the daytime. For me, it was like a very nice experience for me to get to be there with them for a longer time and get to know them better. I mean, it is very calm and peaceful here. I think for all of us feel like that. And then at that time when you get to spend time with them in the evenings and interact with them, I've noticed that kind of builds the bond between teacher and children, and I've had very good moments and good memories with them. We don't use gadgets here, so the children started dancing without music, creating their own music, because we're so in one with nature here. Kind of gives us the opportunity for more human interaction. I'd love to sketch here. Most of the time when I come here, we do. Interested children who are not art students, I've seen them come and say, Auntie, can we sketch together? A lot of beautiful memories that it creates for us as between teacher and student. What I see different from school and here is, there's a timetable. Here also we have a schedule, of course. But when we come here, all those things kind of melt away. That itself is a very nice experience where we get to bond with the children and spend time with them and get to know them better. And they also end up sharing a lot more, seeing the lighter side, seeing their actual sense of humor, the funny things, the crazy things that they do, which we don't really get to see in school. I think it's easier here because firstly it's a sudden change from the regular school setup. There are certain do's and don'ts that the place itself has. Like for instance, I've seen these boundaries between children dissolve when they come to the farm. Firstly, there are no devices, and I think these devices kind of consume the minds of these children. So that way they've totally abstained from any of that here. That kind of enables you to kind of see things around you. I don't think otherwise we see beyond this distance. We're either reading the books or the phone, or at the most maybe the television or another person. But these farm trips actually change a lot in them. A lot of change to the attitude that they have. You have to be physically agile to be able to do all of this.
Being away from the urban landscape, coming to this open natural surrounding for a few days where you don't get easily your phone signals, you're cut off in a way, from your work, regular work in school, from families, and just be here, that again is valuable by itself.
Rudra and Shamsher gave them an introduction again about what's happening here. I think that helped.
First measurement பண்ணனும்.
இந்த டூல்ஸ் எல்லாமே ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணதுக்கு பதிலாக முன்னாடியே வந்து ஸோ இந்த ப்ரோக்ராமுக்கு என்னென்ன டூல்ஸ் எல்லாம் தேவைப்படும்ன்ற ஒரு கொஷின் மார்க் மாதிரி நம்ம இந்த கேட்கல ரொம்ப
கிளியரா இருந்தது.
அதுதான் சரி. இப்போ நீங்கள் ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணி வச்சதுனால ஸோ இந்த டூல் இதுக்காக யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம், இந்த நேம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நீங்கள் நல்லா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணீங்க.
அந்த வுட் கட் பண்ணதெல்லாம் பெரிய விஷயம், மிஷின் வச்சு பண்ணதெல்லாம் அது பெரிய விஷயம். ஆனால் ஒரு நாளில் நீங்கள் டீச் பண்ணது அதோட பெரிய அழகாக அதை எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி நீங்கள் சொன்ன விஷயம் பசங்க ஃபுல்லாக மைண்டில் ஏற்றிட்டு அதை நீட்டாக ஃபுல் ஃபோக்கஸோடு அவங்க பண்ண பார்த்தீங்களா, அது சூப்பர் நல்லா பண்ணீங்க. குட்.
ஒரு வேளை கட் ஆகிடுச்சு, நம்ம அதை எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ண போகிறோன்றது ஒரு பயமாக இருந்தது. இருந்தாலுமே அதுக்கு முன்னாடி நாங்கள் இங்கே இருக்கிற ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ஸ் எல்லாமே போயிட்டு இயர்லி ஒன்ஸ் வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஃபார்ம் ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ண போகிறோம், ஸோ எங்களுக்கு நீங்கள் ப்ரியாரிட்டி வந்து சில்ட்ரனுக்கு கொடுக்கணுன்றதை நாங்கள் இயர்லி ஒன்ஸ் போயிட்டு சொல்லுவோம். அப்படி இந்த மாதிரி எதாவது கட் ஆச்சுன்னா என்னென்ன பண்ணணுன்றதை அவங்க நல்லா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் எனக்கு ஒரு 50% ஒரு நம்பிக்கை வந்தது. இந்த டூல்ஸ் அந்த சர்க்குலர் அதுதான் கொஞ்சம் பயமாக இருக்கிற மாதிரி எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சது.
விரல் வந்து பாதியாக துண்டாச்சுன்னா அது இது பண்ணலாம், விரல் கட்டாச்சுன்னா கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டங்கிற மாதிரி தான் சொன்னாங்க. குறைஞ்சது 15-20 நிமிஷம் ஆகிடும் இங்கேருந்து எந்த ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் போனாலும். ஒரு பக்கம் பயம்தான், பசங்களுக்கு சேஃபாக இருக்கணுங்கிறதுல ரொம்ப கவனமாக இருந்தோம். ஆனால் பசங்களோட ஃபோக்கஸ் வந்து அந்த மிஷினில் வந்து ரொம்ப
நல்லா கவனமாக பண்ணாங்க. ஸோ கேர்லெஸ்ஸாக இல்லாமல் ஃபோக்கஸ்டாக அதிலே இருந்து அந்த லைன் பண்ணுறதுலேருந்து எல்லாமே கரெக்டாக பண்ணாங்க. இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் எனக்குமே நல்லா கிளியராக புரிஞ்சுது. நீங்கள் சொன்ன அந்த வே ஆஃப் டீச்சிங் வந்து ரொம்ப கிளியராக இருந்துச்சு.
From last time நிறையா learnings இருந்தது. So it was easier to, I think, have the ability to plan a little bit more or to be a little bit more organized with my thoughts. Like tools இப்படி வகையாக அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணுறது லாஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து
நம்ம அதுலேருந்து தான் கற்றுக்கிட்டோம். கண்டிப்பாக
கரெக்ட். நிஷாந்தும் நான் 2 பேரும் வந்து ஒரே டயத்துக்கு ஒரே ஸ்பீடில் எல்லாம் கற்றுட்டு இருந்தோம். ஷம்ஷேர் இந்த வாட்டி வந்திருக்கான், ஆனால் ஷம்ஷேர் இப்போ வந்து புதுசாக எல்லாமே பண்ணுறான். Nishant has his own knowledge that he brings to it. Nishant has his own skills and experience that he brings to it. So it was easy to let him do his part and for me to do my part. Whereas this time I felt a little bit like I also have to make sure that Shamsher does his part. I think it went quite well in terms of what Shamsher brought to the table in terms of speaking to the children. And I feel like we were both able to really engage the children. They seemed a lot more curious this time. They seemed a lot more eager to learn this time. But last time they had one thing to refer to, and that was something that the resource people had made. Whereas this time, Nishant and I had made this, their seniors had made this, their seniors had made that, Shamsher and I had made that. There seemed to already be a lot of interest carried over from just what they'd heard. So I think it was a lot easier to engage with them. There seemed to be more interest overall. I think by the time the jar test came, they seemed to be really uninterested in actually already like this process of the jar test. A lot of them were quickly talking about when can we start making the wall. Very eager right from the beginning. I think again breaking them up into small groups I think was very easy. But engaging with 7 children and being able to do eye contact with them and talk to them about it, keep them interested, is much easier. In fact, like when Shiva was too eager and he couldn't wait, it was a little bit distracting because, hey, I've already taken these guys through this. I'm organically moving on to the next one, and there's suddenly more people. It's people like pushing people out of the way and like trying to get to the front. It's easy to work with smaller groups. I feel a big miss with the introduction was not realizing that this was Kamal's first time being in this session and Sita's first time being in this session. And later, after other things were happening, I was really feeling like I should have also taken them through the introduction over here, because it's hard to ask them to be involved with the students without going through the basics at least.
The adults are also supposed to partake in that. I thought that last year the children were more curious, had a lot more questions about the wall. How are you going to do it? Do you have put cement? Why don't you put cement? All kinds of questions. This batch has heard about the program already to some extent. They were eager to get on to work the wall, comparing it. Okay, why does that look like this? Why is the corner broken, for example? All kinds of questions were there. So this time I was like, you say the jar test is going to be part of it. I was personally very excited about it. But then I realized that because children didn't have that context, I had the context and therefore I was excited. But they didn't have a why jar test, what are we doing here? So they didn't have a full appreciation for the soil composition test that we were doing.
Very interesting that you experienced it differently, their interest in it and their questions.
They found it challenging. I could see it on their face. I haven't chosen math. I haven't chosen art in the 11th, so I don't know how to draw this. That's not the point. I don't know why they feel that this drawing requires me to study art as a subject. The children who are like Vishnu very, very politely came and told me, Auntie, I haven't done math in a while, so I'm afraid to do it. Nafis and he were sitting there and giggling because they were actually finding it very uncomfortable. And they somehow felt like someone was holding a gun on their heads. And they felt like very compelled to do a task which they were not understanding at all. So how do you scale down something, unless we know who these children are, when we are doing this specific activity, we have to be aware. I think it is a very clever way of teaching them. The whole thing was planned, like giving them an option of whether it's 1/4, half, 1/3, 1/6, whatever that is, and then showing them the size of that mold and the clamp. All of that kind of very organically developed. That was nice.
காலையில் அதை மெஷர் பண்ணிவிட்டு அந்த 39 இன்ச்சு வந்து லென்த் இருக்குது. பசங்க வந்து ரொம்ப நேரமாக அதை டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணி அது அந்த அந்த டைமிங் வந்து நல்லா போச்சு. நம்ம வந்து என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கிறத அப்சர்வ் பண்ணணும். ஒவ்வொரு குரூப்பாக ஒவ்வொரு பக்கமாக உட்காந்துட்டு 1/6, 1:6, 1:3, அது 1:2 இந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொன்றா அவங்க ரொம்ப நேரமாக பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அந்த செஷன் வந்து ரொம்ப நல்லா போச்சு. செட் பண்ணி வச்சுட்டா அவங்க கேள்வியே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. இது எப்படி நம்ம பேஸ் ரெடி பண்ணுறது, இந்த ஃபார்ம் ஒர்க் எப்படி ரெடி பண்ணுறதுங்கிறது அவங்களுக்கு தெரியாமல் போயிடும். அதனால் வந்து நம்ம ஃபார்ம் ஒர்க் பண்ண வேணாங்கிறது கூட நம்ம பேசணும் முதல் நாளே. அவங்களே கேட்கட்டும்ங்கிற மாதிரி நம்ம பிளான் பண்ணோம். அது நல்லா அந்த செஷன் வந்து ரொம்ப நேரம் போச்சு. நம்ம அக்ரிகல்ச்சரில் வந்து சாயில் டெஸ்ட் வந்து ஒரு மாதிரி பண்ணுவோம். எப்போ சீசன் ஆரம்பிக்குதோ அப்போ வந்து நம்ம அதுக்கு முன்னாடி சாயில் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணி அங்கே என்ன நியூட்ரியன் வந்து ரொம்ப ப்ளோவாக இருக்கோ அதுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி நம்ம அதை யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். ஆனால் இதில் வந்து ஒரு வித்தியாசமாக இருக்குது. ஜார் எடுத்து வந்து ரெடி பண்ணோம். ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்து கிளே இருக்குது, அதுக்கடுத்து சில்ட் இருக்குது. கரெக்டாக அதுக்கடுத்து சாண்ட். அது அந்த வேரியேஷன் இருக்குது. அதை கரெக்டாக அந்த இன்ச்சு ஸ்கேல் வச்சு அழகாக மெஷர் பண்ணுறாங்க. மெஷர் பண்ணி அது எவ்வளோ இருக்குன்ட்டு நோட் பண்ணாங்க. ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது சாயில் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறது. அது பார்க்குறப்ப நம்ம அந்த மூவியில் பார்க்குற மாதிரி அது கொஞ்சம் ஒரு வித்தியாசமாக இருக்குது அந்த கலரிங். நல்லா இருந்தது.
Staff, teachers who have been coming here see this experience as extremely valuable. It is also not easy for them. Some teachers are able to make some connection between the work that the children do here and the subjects that they're teaching and show those connections to the children. Let's say the children come here for a session, say observe dragonflies who are migrating, right, with the monsoon winds, and see the connection between dragonflies coming, the paddy cultivation that you're doing. So before the children come here, the teachers would, and at school, will talk to them about monsoon, will talk to them about dragonflies, some sessions will happen here. They'll see some connection, ecosystem related connections between the insects and the plants and so on. Staff, teachers who have been coming here see this experience as extremely valuable. It is also not easy for them. Some teachers are able to make some connection between the work that the children do here and the subjects that they're teaching and show those connections to the children. Let's say the children come here for a session, say observe dragonflies who are migrating, right, with the monsoon winds, and see the connection between dragonflies coming, the paddy cultivation that you're doing. So before the children come here, the teachers would, and at school, will talk to them about monsoon, will talk to them about dragonflies, some sessions will happen here. They'll see some connection, ecosystem related connections between the insects and the plants and so on. And then you forget about it largely, okay. You go back to the regular curriculum that you have to teach. What would help is if we do this work at the beginning of the year itself for the whole program rather than in a lesson by lesson kind of a connection. All the teachers who are associated, let's say, with the class 11-12 program, if they have a sense of what children are doing here, what they're going to do for the whole 3-5 sessions, right, over 3-5 sessions in 2 years, then the physics, maths, commerce, economics, biology teachers will have to think right at the beginning of the year, looking at the curriculum, oh, this is a great place to, to show that connection, oh, this is another place to show the connection. One has to do a prior kind of a thinking and planning. Some of those connections also, it's best to leave it to the children to arrive at, not necessarily show them everything. It's very nice, when sometimes they think, oh yeah, we did that in the farm, no, and this is what we're studying, right? So to see that connection by themselves.